This week, China and Germany have signed a $20 billion trade deal in what many have called a retaliation to Donald Trump's trade tariffs imposed on United States trading partners, with a trade war on the horizon involving these major world players who are also major so-called development partners to Africa. What are the implications of this ongoing trade misunderstanding and the new partnership between China and Germany for the world and Africa? Kate Brady is political correspondent with our partners DW and has some analysis on this for us. Hello, Kate. It's good to have you. First, tell us what's in this trade talk.
Well, this trade deal was actually signed on the sidelines on Monday of a meeting by the state premier of China. He was in Berlin meeting with Angela Merkel, and included in this deal are several different commercial agreements, which, as you mentioned, come to a total worth of around 20 million euros. And included in that are several different ventures between government agencies, but also between several businesses, including some rather big names like Siemens and Volkswagen. But of course, this is very much just a part of long-term talks between Berlin and Beijing, especially, as you mentioned before, in light of this deteriorating situation between China and the US. China and, of course, many other leading countries around the world are looking for new trade allies.
Earlier that it was 20 billion, but the right figure is 20 million euros, correct?
20 billion, sorry.
20 billion, right. So what are the implications then for China, German and American relations, that some sort of triangle there?
Well, of course, this has shown a very united front between Beijing and Berlin, and we've seen already there wasn't really a direct reaction from the US, but clearly Donald Trump and his administration there in Washington are not being dissuaded from seeking what seems to be an oncoming trade war with China. Of course, we heard just yesterday as well that they have now slapped a new wave of tariffs amounting to around $200 billion on China, and China has already warned that it will, to its greatest extent possible, now respond with dollar-for-dollar tariffs. Of course, this could also, looking ahead though, this could also have long-term effects for investment in Africa. That's also a new kind of partnership across various African states that is being formed in recent years with China, especially in more southern African states. You're seeing more and more investment, particularly in infrastructure. And even just a couple of years ago, some of the most recent figures from 2016 saw China invest twice as much investment across several parts of Africa, particularly in southern states, than the US. So that could really be beneficial in the future as China continues to look to build new trade alliances now that this relationship with the US is very quickly going down the drain.
Hopefully that's what could be in this for Africa. But has there been any major reactions from other world leaders to this turn of events?
So far, we haven't had any huge responses. Of course, NATO is also meeting in Brussels as we speak. And this united front, which is being called for not only in trade but in terms of security, is going to be very, very important. And that's something that we're hearing from many corners of the world right now, particularly in this growing time of protectionism and isolationism, which has been pushed very much to the forefront, particularly by the Trump administration.
Kate, thank you so much for giving us this update and analysis all the way from Berlin. Kate Brady is political correspondent with our partners DW there, helping us understand, this trade war that's going on between the United States and China, and what China is doing in retaliation with Germany. What are the implications for countries, African countries like Ghana? Thanks, Kate, once again. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty, and up here.